I have never seen anything out of those traditions of instruction that give you any signal that speech is anything but a synonym for sound. And speech is not sound. Speech is not pronunciation. Speech needs pronunciation, but it's pronunciation of meaning. There is no such thing as speech that doesn't have meaning. It's not called speech if it's not meaningful. I can make burbly noises, and that's not speech, right? And another way of keeping this in mind is you can't say an English word or any word in any language without announcing at least one phoneme and one morpheme. It's not possible. They are intertwined. We need to think of speech as the pronunciation of meaning. And here's the thing. I can only talk about Roman alphabet languages because I don't understand other types of writing systems. I know a lot more about English than any other Roman alphabet language, but we can say in Roman alphabet languages, the raw materials are the alphabetic letters, and those are not English. They're called Roman alphabet letters. If we talk about the letter A or the letter I, we haven't actually specified anything about the grapheme because we don't even know what language we're in. And if we can have an I grapheme in English and an I grapheme in French, and there's no reason to think they do the same thing. So that's the other thing. I just want to give you some big picture things before we dive into examples to understand Candace's question. And so one thing that we're going to be doing is distinguishing when we mean letter and when we mean grapheme. Letter sound correspondences is really an incoherent phrase because it's not letters that write sounds, it's graphemes that write phonemes. What is the letter T doing in the word the? It's not doing anything. It's not an orthographic structure in the. It's part of the TH orthographic minimal structure. And here's the other thing. So before I go down my things, let me show you what I came up with for my current thinking, which is obviously very similar. But this is what I was getting at right now. It is so useful to understand that the grapheme is a minimal language-specific orthographic unit in all Roman alphabet languages. It's the smallest structure of orthography that is specific to a language. When you go below a grapheme, what do you get? What is below a grapheme?
A single letter.
That's right. And the tricky bit is that a single letter can be comprised of a single grapheme can be comprised of a single letter. But that doesn't mean that they're the same thing. One is if we call it a letter, we aren't linking it to a pronunciation. And let me just give you one more frame on this big picture before we go into example words and take on your questions. Everybody do me a favor and write down the digit 9 on a piece of paper if you got a pen and paper there. So what is the digit 9 worth?
Depends.
It's a trick question. It ain't worth nothing because it's a digit. It's not a number. We have 10 digits from 0 to 9 that are able to express any value. But if it's a digit 9 and there's a decimal before it, it's 9/10. If there's 2 zeros after it, it's 900. I can say, how many times does the digit 9 appear in the number 969? And the answer is twice. Those are digits. They're not number questions. We understand in math the difference between digit and number. We really don't get confused when we do math. The whole thing is place value. A digit isn't a number until it has place value in a number. And the digit 1 can be the number 1. They're still different, but they look the same. Okay? Now, think about letters as being equivalent to digits. the place value, the place value in words is a morpheme. You can't know what a grapheme is until it's got the place value inside a morpheme, because graphemes have to fit in those morphemes. So I just want to highlight this is going to be a thing that comes up over and over again. But the message I just mentioned is every message that we give kids and teachers with phrases like letter sound correspondence, grapheme phonic correspondence, sound symbol correspondence, is that the job of the writing system is to write pronunciation, and there's no signal about meaning. Everybody write the word "by" on a piece of paper. You don't even have to, because if it was pronunciation, there would be one way to spell that, but you know which "by" do you mean? Well, they're spelled differently because spelling represents the interrelation of pronunciation and meaning. And the bottom line is, it is undeniable. If you do not address with instruction how spelling writes meaning, how graphemes are leveraged to write meaning in English, there's no way. There are so many spellings you can't explain. Guess what? That's why we have spelling exceptions that we teach kids, not because they're exceptions, but they're exceptions to a misunderstanding of the writing system, which means we shouldn't be calling them exceptions. They're falsification of our understanding of the writing system. So I apologize for the big picture. Rebecca has a question, and then I want to just look at taking this right down into young books. Rebecca?
I'm probably going to mispronounce the word. Phonous themes? It's a new word for me. I don't know if it's phones themes or phonous themes, but things like TW.
Yeah.
Would that be considered a marker?
That's a good question to come up, but TW isn't a phonous theme.
Oh, it's not. Okay.
When people, and I don't know if this is the right definition, but it's a problematic term. The examples I hear about phonous themes are like the WR in wrist and right and such, that commonly have a sense of twisting. And it's not a morpheme, and so it brings up, but I don't know why it's called a phonous theme, because the only reason you talk about them is they're written with a WR. It's an orthographic thing. I don't understand the term phonous theme for this. It's not about the pronunciation. It's about the combination of a WR writing, whether it writes wrist or right or whatever. There's a single like that. With two, it's not a TW, it's a W that we're talking about. And that is a graphemic marker, and we'll get to that.
Okay, so what about like the SL and the SN that you get on, and the KN that you get on phonous themes?
We're going to have to talk about these inside words, because what's happening, it's like talking about digits and trying to do math. Because I don't know which ones you mean until it's in the place value of a word, right?
Okay.
That's always great questions. Now, so one thing we just got to say is graphemes are just the minimal orthographic unit. They provide systematic links between minimal units of language. I don't know that. I can't do minimal links between. No, minimal links. No, I don't know what it is. Minimal language specific. I don't know how to say this. The point is, phonemes are the minimal units of pronunciation, graphemes are the minimal units of orthography, and they link. So don't quote that, because that's badly written. Provide spelling meaning connections. This is we got to talk about spelling meaning connections as much as, and I say actually spelling meaning correspondences. I'm trying to get this phrase spelling meaning correspondences as familiar as grapheme phoning correspondences, because they do both. And we don't, as I just signaled, we don't even have a phrase. We have all those instructional phrases and research phrases for links between pronunciation and spelling. I don't know any common universal phrase that would take that place on the meaning side. And the crazy thing is, English spelling favors consistent spelling of meaning over consistent spelling of pronunciation, and yet we don't even have the word for the spelling meaning correspondences that are everywhere. So one thing I want to do today too is get you guys used to places you can use that phrase spelling meaning correspondence. But the spelling meaning correspondences or connections, I'll put correspondences now. There's only two kinds. Those from morphology and those from etymology. We have grapheme phoneme correspondences and we have spelling meaning correspondences. There's three kind of graphemes, single letter graphemes, digraphs, and trigraphs. There's two kind of meaning correspondences, morphemic and graphemic. Another thing that people don't, they know, but they don't often say that is so important, graphemes spell written morphemes. That is this combinatorial idea. The graphemes have to fit into morphemes. You can't have half a grapheme in one morpheme and half in another. Never. And then graphemes have to provide that the written morphemes have to have graphemes that can represent the very pronunciations of those morphemes. One of the things I want to do today is talk about that side of things too. We have graphemes linked to phonemes, what we never teach, which we need to teach and we should, but we never have this habit of teaching the link between spoken and written morphemes, and that is absolutely equally essential, and that's where the energy comes in, where the meaning is that we can link the pronunciate the please and pledge or ples of the plese base for pleasure, pleasant, and please. Right? If we practice being able to do that, we draw attention to that, and then we can see the grapheme phoneme correspondences. Rebecca?
You say that this is your current thinking. I'm wondering, are you creating a document with this information, or should I be frantically writing it down?
Don't, because I just wrote this like 10 minutes before the session off the top of my head, and I didn't even write clear sentences.
So I should not be writing this down yet?
Well, you can write anything down, just don't. I put current thinking to signal that this is not carefully done. This is what I'm thinking this moment. Good question. Now, so what I want to do is now jump past all that kind of hoity-toity talk and point to, let's look, what does these, it sounds so heavy-duty linguistic. Does this have any relevance for young kids? And so what I did is in the link that I pasted in the chat, and I don't think I've done anything else yet. So if I do it one more time, anybody who joined will still get it. Oh, no, I did already do it. So I'm going to do it again. Because I've put in these links, the word torque link by Fiona Hamilton, that has this thing. Where's the chat? That I'm going to draw from, and she does this. Her word torque website is amazing. She's one of the co-authors of the High Frequency Word Project that's sitting right there. But she also has this in with the page thing on that I highly recommend you check out. That I'm showing here, but if we come here. On her website, she and other teachers make these regular posts where they give you bits of book and then they have a little talk about SWI type lessons available in that book. So it's like just such a rich resource. That's the bottom link of what I just sent you, and it's all free. So I just wanted to make sure you saw that. So I just went there, and then I went to another place that you'll recognize very quickly, just to take examples of early literacy. And what I'm going to encourage everybody to do is, this is from whatever book it is, but just read that and let's make a collection of any graphemes you see here that aren't writing a pronunciation. And listen to that language. Graphemes that aren't writing a pronunciation. I didn't say graphemes not writing a phoneme. I said graphemes not writing a pronunciation. What's one word that has an unpronounced grapheme?
Lights.
Sorry, could you spell it for me? I couldn't hear it.
Sorry, Lights.
Oh, lights.
Lights.
Okay. And what's another one? Anybody?
Knee.
I'm not sure I'm understanding because
We're not gonna talk about him till after.
Oh, okay.
Knee.
Spell, please.
Knee.
Excellent. And
Tiptoeing.
yeah.
Leave.
When I say yep, I'm not saying you're right. I'm just writing words that you're giving me.
TWO.
Okay.
Enough.
Okay.
Leave.
And is there anyone I'm missing that people want to do, or should we start with
I guess you could say licks. I mean, I wouldn't, but I could see if you're just looking for a letter that's not representing a
it's a perfect thing. Check it out. And I know you understand this. The instruction here is we're looking for unpronounced graphemes. So I want to bring up what I'm sure you're thinking here, Rebecca. I heard you switch to letters now. And we're going to see the enormous problem with even talking about letters. Because we have the word licks, which we could just remove that suffix and deal with the word lick, right? So I gotta lick my lollipop. Now, what might somebody present as a silent letter in this word?
either the C or the K.
Exactly, which is a perfect thing. Because which is the silent one? Could you, Rebecca, spell lick for me?
L-I-C-K.
And so that practice, I shared the link in my notes there to my page for spelling out loud. It's all free stuff there. The point I want to highlight is the spelling out is like just essential. L-I-C-K. That's tapping out, just a version spelling out. Because what we're doing then is we are, from the first time we ever spell a word that has a CK digraph, we are drawing the learner's attention not to the raw materials, but to the orthographic structures. If the first time you spell the to a kid, I encourage you not to spell it T-H-E, but to spell it T-H-E, and get them to spell it T-H-E, because they can learn what the T is from a TH, but they got to know that the TH and the is the thing. And in lick, you just showed us that, of course, if we say one of the letters is silent, then the other one's writing it. And with the C and the K, as graphemes, they can each write. So it's a funny thing to say one of them is silent because, I know you understand all that, Rebecca. But that was and I think I see where the confusion started. And this is an example that I wanted to bring up, that we can't even have this conversation until we unpack graphemes and letters. This word has an L grapheme, an I grapheme, and a CK digraph, and each of them are writing a phoneme. So this one might appear to many people, and that mistake is made, as a silent grapheme or a silent letter, but it's not. It's a CK digraph. Now, that one, I think, is what was being thought about with this word knee. There are so many resources that teach this as a silent K, but that is just not coherent. Why is that? Why can't I call that a silent K? It's not the K. It's not the N writing N and the K is silent. It's just a KN.
Right.
And your lick was a perfect example. I also do this one. I say, okay, so in back, is it the C silent and the K is writing, or is the K silent, the C? Nobody ever makes the mistake with the CK. They know it's a digraph. They may not use the word digraph, but they never wonder about the pronunciation of the C in the CK because their brain has fixed the CK as a unit. But they don't understand the KN story well enough, so they've been taught that there's a silent K, and what you've been taught, you keep passing on. But I can signal that this is a B-A-C-K and this is a K-N-double-E the first time I talk about it. I don't even have to say what the K-N's doing. I can just spell it that way. But then I can say, okay, Michelle, if I can pick on you, can you say the word knee for me?
Knee.
So like I hurt my knee when I fell on the ice. Okay, and that's K-N-double-E. Can you say it knee again for me one more time? Oh, first, can you tap it out for me like I did?
Knee. K-N-E-E.
Perfect.
E.
And I'm going to say the E a different way. I say KN double E. Can you try that?
KN double E.
Perfect. Now say knee for me again.
Knee.
What do you feel at the beginning of saying knee? How do you think you write the in this word knee?
N.
With the but it's with the KN. KN. And so when you have had the kids do that before you get to the pronunciation, people mistake what I'm doing when I do the tapping out of the graphemes and the naming of the graphemes. It's as if I'm ignoring the pronunciation, but no. I am the teacher whose job is to make the implicit explicit to the kid. I know that the grapheme is KN. I don't need them to wonder what the grapheme is. I can give them the grapheme, and then they can link the phoneme to the known grapheme, and then we never even invite the distraction of a silent K that never existed. There's no need to wonder if there's a silent K. I can just tell you it's a KN. And if we do that and say, well, now say knee without the n, we get the E. How do you write the E in this word knee with a double E? I didn't say the only way to write E is double E. I didn't say the only way to write n is KN. I just, yeah, the n in knee is written with a KN. The E in knee is written with a double E. Okay, so this again, this is like our lick one. It doesn't have an unpronounced, none of the, I made up back, but those don't have unpronounced graphemes. Now we've looked at the two. So here's the question. Listen to this instruction. When I do the tapping out, here's the language that I use to describe what it is. When I tap, I give one tap to every grapheme or doubled grapheme in the morpheme. No, I don't. That's wrong. I give one tap to every grapheme or doubled grapheme in the base. I only tap in the base is one of the things why I don't know why I said morpheme there. Alicia, you had a question before we go on?
I just wanted to share the grapheme KN is still is a part of the German modern German language, and
Yep.
I believe that the English word KN double E is probably Anglo-Saxon, even though I haven't looked it up.
You're right.
The modern spelling in German is KNIE, and it's pronounced Knie. So
It's great. And if I don't know if Eric's not here, but he's often here. Eric of does this amazing work, multiple cross languages, and he has a great line that when you look at German, oral and written language is like having a time capsule into earlier English.
Yeah.
It's much more like Old English than is English. And when you have those things like Nacht, that's why we have the IGH in English. It's marking a previous pronunciation, and words like knight, the word no, KNOW, they used to be spelled with a C and an N, and pronounced with two consonants. It becomes a KN, but apparently we just say knight and knee and all that. But that's Old English. That's not English. But we keep the grapheme, and we can look at this later, because it's functioning for better representing of the meaning. Like, just for a slight example with that one, let's take the word no, and let's say we accepted the argument. Oh, I hate these irregular K's, or I wish spelling's just spelled the same. Well, let's spell no without the K. Well, that would bounce into now. So now you have a complication with meaning connections. So that is not a negative. It's a good thing. Here's another little pithy thing. The fact that we have most graphemes can spell with more than one phoneme, and most phonemes can be spelled with more than one grapheme is not a bug, it's a feature. because the primary job of spelling is meaning representation, it needs to be able to represent words that have the same pronouncement but are different with different spellings. And when you have words that are linked by common meaning in a base, like SIGN, but the pronunciation change, sign, signal, design, good thing we can spell that base with the same spelling. The graphemes are spelling the meaning of the morpheme in such a way that all of its pronunciations can work. You can't study any of these things in isolation, and when you do, you get spellings you can't explain that shouldn't be dismissed as irregular, but should be accepted as falsification. Now, with two, so remember, one tap for every grapheme or doubled grapheme in the base. I'm just going to tell you it's a base. Everyone have a go at tapping out the graphemes in that base. How many graphemes? And this is a point that I did not get for the longest time, because I worked on the assumption that I'd been taught that to be a grapheme, you have to write a phoneme. And I learned about these graphemic markers from Vinetsky and then also from Michel and with Gina Cook. And at first, the thinking was, oh, if you have a grapheme that doesn't write any phoneme, then it's got to be a separate category, a marker. And I can show you a chapter in Vinetsky that it makes it sound that way. But it's not that way. What I needed to understand is that the minimal orthographic structure of a language is a grapheme of the Roman alphabet language. So this W is a grapheme. The thing that makes it tricky is that it's a grapheme that doesn't write a pronunciation, so we're hesitant to call it a grapheme. But that is the result of a schema since we were in kindergarten, built only by letter-sound correspondence, grapheme-phonic correspondence, sound-symbol correspondence, and no slight shining of biological spotlights on spelling-meaning correspondence. But if we taught this way from the beginning, there would be no confusion.
Can you tap it out for us?
Yeah, so it's TWO. Now let me show you why I have to back that up, though. So let's take a look at the IPA of the word two. There it is. According to my Oxford. Some people would put some other marks there, but that's close enough. So here is the IPA. That looks like a T, but it's not a T. It's a T phoneme. That looks like a U, but it's not. It's an U phoneme. So the IPA we put in these slash brackets, and sometimes they look like letters, but not always. If I took the word the, we get these funny looking things and these funny looking things, right? So this is telling us that the word spelled THE can be spelled the or the. This is the best apple pie I've ever had. The apple pie is on the table. I want to eat the apple pie because that's the one I really liked, right? That's stressing it. That's unstressing it. That is an E, not an I. That's the E phoneme, not an I. That's a right? Now notice that TH is writing but look at what it does in path. Oh, now it's writing that's an unvoiced one. Oh, look at that funny thing. What do you think that symbol is? What phoneme does anybody who's new to IPA, what would you guess that phoneme is representing?
Short A.
Yeah, like in the A. And I recommend just announcing the phoneme, because then you even if you get the wrong terminology, which you didn't, then it's there. But we can prove it because there's apple. So this is how I learned IPA. I would jump from one word to the other. Oh, that's the okay, right? So just so you know, it just happened that the ones that we needed for the word I pulled up look like letters, so I had to show you these aren't letters. Ooh. Which grapheme is writing the t phoneme in this word?
TW.
And I'm going, if that is true, if that were true, we would need to find TW writing that phoneme somewhere else in the system. That's the combinatoriality thing I'm always on about. You can only claim a grapheme as a grapheme if you can show that letter or letter combination representing that same phoneme or having that same function in another word, because if it's not combinatorial, it ain't a grapheme. It's so exciting when this combinatorial thing comes along, because it's like, it's not English, it's Roman, it's language. So we can say that it's reasonable hypothesis. The other one that people say is the WO is writing OO. You know why we do that? Because we have a schema that is stuck on letter-sound correspondence. So whatever letters on the page we squish into a grapheme, because we can't cope with a grapheme not writing a pronunciation, which is the main topic of today. All of this is confusion that is the result of misinstruction that no child ever needs to be put into their brain. We don't have to undo this at our age. What if we just knew from the beginning? Well, of course, graphemes still write phonemes. I learned that in kindergarten. Right? That should be the way it is. Laura.
Okay, I have a question. I was listening to a podcast called Reach All Readers. It had Fiona and Rebecca. They were talking about the word one and the w, and how the O is not representing the w. And then they were kind of talking, well, how would you map that out?
So Laura, I'm going to pause you there.
Yes.
That is like an astonishingly fascinating story. The grapheme phoneme correspondences of the word one.
Yeah.
I hope I have time to address it later.
Okay.
But it would be not the right time in the path of what we do. Like, it's like going to the calculus question before we've done addition.
Got it.
Not that it's wrong, but it's a very helpful thing that you raised, because I want you guys to see that I do that with kids. It's not that every question that's raised you have to dive into. You have to decide here's a teaching principle that I use whenever I encounter, when I'm trying to teach something. I see kids writing, or I ask a question, or whatever, the kid brings up a question, whatever the context, the thing that goes in my head is, what is the most generative orthographic concept available in this word to teach this audience at this time? Going into one right now would not be productive. But the fact that you raised it puts it on my class wonder wall, knowing that I'm going to have to come back to this one. And so I'm going to build understanding that's going to help that make more sense. But not doing it now would be problematic. So it's a very helpful pedagogical thing. Because one of the things that drives me crazy, I heard a podcast by somebody one time that described an intervention study with SWI, and they said that SWI says that every time you get a question, you have to go on a half-an-hour investigation, and that is just so untrue. It just has nothing to do with reality. The only people who say that are people who haven't taught SWI or didn't understand it, and that's okay. But it's okay to not understand it, but I need to counter that. And so you just gave me a way to illustrate, you don't have to go into the question now. You can do it later. And acknowledging that it's a really rich question, right? Now, so what I'm saying is, we know that the T grapheme, now to show orthographic information, we use angle brackets. So if you see angle brackets, inside is linguistically clear, definitionally orthographic. If I just see this on the page, all I can say is that is a T. I don't know if it's being referred to as a letter or a grapheme yet. The moment I link it to a pronunciation, it's a grapheme. This is a grapheme T, writing the T that you hear in the English word to. What grapheme do you think is writing the OO? Now, people will say WO, but I've already made it clear that that can't be the case, because we don't have a WO writing OO anywhere else in the system. And that means the O grapheme is writing OO, but I have to give you evidence that that's possible. It has to combine. Fortunately, we have a word that proves it very simply. When I have this word, that's exactly how it's written. We know the O can write oo because this too does it. And so does the other very familiar everyday word, do. So here's something that I want to highlight. Oo is not the most common job of the O grapheme, but it is in very common words. So why would we avoid teaching it to kids when it's right there? In words they're going to see every day. Of course, the TO can be pronounced T, but it can be pronounced to as well. Now, so what do we do here? Well, what happens is we realize that, this is the pronunciation of the whole word. So there is a W grapheme, but what is it doing?
It's a zero allophone.
That's one way, but here's what you can think about it. It turns out it's not that. And that's a perfect reason that I'm going to start us off today with the language that I recommend you stick with, even after today, if you don't understand the next level. And that is, we're right now talking about graphemes that don't write pronunciations. The thing about that is, when I say no pronunciation, that could literally be a zeroed allophone, or it could be no pronunciation. Not a phoneme, but right now you don't need to zero alpha. What the heck's that? You don't need to know. But what you need to know first is that graphemes don't have to write pronunciations, and that's true whether I would refer, wrong thing, this one. It is true to, that's an M. It is true to say, and now I need an arrow. I'm saying, wait, so much time, but where is it? There is it. So we know that the T grapheme is writing the T. The O grapheme is writing the oo. What is the W doing? It's not writing a pronunciation at all.
Meaning.
You could put that there. You could say meaning. It's writing meaning, and you can show that it is doing it by marking its etymological connection to the historical spelling of this and related words, like twice, twin, 20. This is a spelling meaning correspondence between the word to and these words from etymology. This is an etymological spelling meaning correspondence. It's not there for pronunciation. Don't worry about this, but that is why I'm calling it a graphemic marker. For those of you who are thinking about that, this is 100% a graphemic marker because it doesn't write a pronunciation in any other word in the space. So there's that one. We found it. Excellent.
Peter, can I just say something just to plant a seed in your head?
Yep.
I've liked the term spelling meaning correspondence, but I do worry sometimes, like, could we say spelling meaning correspondence and more? Because it does more than just meaning.
Well, it's just that when we have the phrase grapheme phoneme correspondence, which is an accurate, important, must-teach phrase and must-understand thing, it is only graphemes that can spell phonemes. Phonemes can only be written by graphemes. But we just need to be able to say that, and also to say, but they also have they have spelling meaning correspondences, and there's two kinds, morphological and etymological, and they can be all happening at the same time. But you need to be able to talk about each component of that. And if you can't even conceive of it. So we make up WOs and we make up EOs in people, and we make up all these graphemes that happen in one word, which just means it's not a grapheme, and it gives you no way to understand it. Right? It becomes memory. So I just wanted to save that bit. Here's some other ones that people pick just from that first page. Oh my God. So what's another one you'd, oh, so we've already done two. So two works. These are unrelated. And these are unrelated. Any graphemes not writing a phoneme here that you're confident in?
Leave.
Yeah, that's the wise one. That's the most obvious. And here's the biggest gift. What is the name of that E in standard school instruction? Single
Magic
silent?
E or magic E or silent E.
Yeah, the magic E drives me crazy.
Yeah,
But the single silent E.
It's just still, you said most common. You said most common used.
Yeah,
in
but here's the
school.
thing. It's only called a magic key because it's silent. But here's the thing that you can just use when you're helping anybody else have this understanding. You know what? You have seen graphemes that don't write a pronunciation all over the place since you were in kindergarten. That single silent E is a grapheme. The single silent E, the final non-syllabic E, the magic E, whatever we call it, it is a graphemic marker. Always. And I can say graphemic marker not only because it doesn't ever represent a pronunciation, because it's not writing a phoneme. It's not one of these zeroed out grapheme writing a zero out. There is your classic marker, the single silent E, and it has about 14 jobs that I've encountered. I don't have to tell you what all those jobs are. I got to tell you the function of this thing. So you have in your back pocket a super common grapheme that doesn't write a pronunciation. It never writes a pronunciation. It can signal the pronunciation of the grapheme, but it never writes a pronunciation itself. So that's the safest one here. Right on. This is a graphemic marker that is functioning to do what here?
Ensure
Doesn't it
that
have
V is not
two
at the end of
jobs?
the word.
Yeah.
To conform to the convention that no complete English word is allowed to end in V, so we write Leave. So that is what that one is doing. In this case, this grapheme is not even signaling a phonological role like we would see in a word like mate. Now that E is a graphemic marker. It's not writing any pronunciation. The final pronunciation of mate is the T. It is signaling about the pronunciation of the A, but it's doing something else as well. It's making sure that it isn't spelled the same as Mac, which would be confusing. You see what I mean? It's distinguishing spelling. We got to remember that spellings are fulfilling multiple functions at the same time, all the time. We act like when we find out what the A in cat is doing, that whatever word we talk about, that we found the whole thing. No, graphemes can do many functions at once, and they have to. And they always are, because they're always spelling a phoneme and they're always spelling a morpheme. They're always doing at least two jobs. Now,
So
this is
how do you tap the final E?
what did I say, Candace? Is a final E a grapheme?
No.
It is.
So
It's
it's a grapheme.
And here's the thing, Candace, that I'm going to encourage everybody to start doing. We got to stop saying marker, because I used to think that they were not graphemes. And so now to pay what's the word? I got to pay for my sins. I've tried to encourage everybody to always call it a graphemic marker, because if you call it a graphemic marker, then you don't forget that the marker is a grapheme. It's not that that's just my own usage. It's not like a rule. It's just I encourage you to always refer to a graphemic marker, because then when I say that W is a graphemic marker, Candace, how would you tap out the graphemes in the word to? One tap for every grapheme or double grapheme in the base.
TWO.
Perfect. And how would you take the word make, like I want to make money? How would you tap that?
MAKE.
Perfect. Because the E
You
is
tap
now
out
in
the-
the E is
tap
now
out
in
the
your head
grapheme.
as a grapheme, and you can, and we need to just have that fact nailed down, and that's why the tapping out is just so much your friend. And I will say in the notes in there, my spelling out course is coming, and that will be a richer place to come back to after this. Now, let's take the word light, and we don't need the suffix for the question. So let's just take the base. Could anybody give me a hypothesis? Everybody have a second. And remember the rule. We give one tap for every grapheme or doubled grapheme in the base. Everyone have a go at tapping light. Anybody want to give me a hypothesis?
Isn't it etymological because the GH came from something else before?
So I want you to tell me your hypothesis via your tapping out.
L-I-G-H-T.
Ah, see, your tapping out is dead on. And I was going to misunderstand what you meant what you first said. So I'm telling you, well, I'm telling the group that my understanding is that the word light, for the lights are on, L-I-G-H-T. So I've just told you there's 3 graphemes. Many people look at this and they think it has a silent G or a silent GH. And the one that really confuses me is that it's got an IGHT. Well, then you got a vowel and a consonant phoneme. It doesn't make any sense to me. But I can understand the other ones. But here's what we need to know. If you say light, you feel the ul written with the L. You see the t that's writing the t. All we have left is IGH. If you say light without the ul, ite without the t, I. So how do you write the IGH how do you write the I you hear in light with an IGH? If you do that with kids, like in kindergarten, they never have time to think that's a weird to have the G there. Like they never have to have the confusion ever. If every time you see an IGH, you just spell it as an IGH, you don't have to talk about it. They've already built the IGH in their head. And then you can talk about what it links to. Now, I have to give you evidence, and there's lots of evidence because there's fight and might and right and all these words. So it's combinatorial. You can see the IGH for I all over the system. So this does not have a silent grapheme. It doesn't even have a silent letter because all letters are silent. They never make noise. We can't talk about letters when we're talking about English orthography, unless we mean the letters that are inside the graphemes and the morphemes. So that's a cool one. Now, because I'm obviously going really slow compared to my plans, let's take a look at another way of dealing with these things we've already done. So we know that the W in the word to is a graphemic marker marking this connection and meaning between these words. You could say marking, you could say signaling. I'm going to say marking now because I know this is a graphemic marker. If I had a grapheme that wasn't writing a pronunciation, but I happen to know it wasn't a marker, maybe I should start saying signaling then. Because then my teachers or kids I work with will start to notice that little subtle difference and they'll go. Now, sorry. So now we know that you can have a graphemic marker and that in the word to is still a grapheme, TWO. Okay, so now we have that idea in our head. Now let's take a look at everyone's favorite, the UGH. So here is a UGH, and I'm going to tell you it's a grapheme. It's a trigraph, and one of its jobs is to write the phoneme. And we see it in a whole pile of words: rough, cough, enough, laugh, and draft. The way I can prove to you that this is not an OUGH is if it were an OUGH, what's running the vowel? You'd have to say there's a phoneme uff. You can't, there's no uff phoneme. There's no OUGH. Now, the other thing is, we'd have to have an OUGH that doesn't make any sense, but we'd also have to have an AUGH. But there is no AU in laugh. It's an LAUGH. The ul is written with the L. The A is written with the A, and the UJ is writing F. We could just, there's nothing, is everybody with me there, that's what these UGHs are doing there? And now we don't have to think of it as weird. It's just normal. But then you run into words like these. Now here it becomes trickier. Bought, sought, through, though. These words are forever presented to us as irregular words, and they come up with, you'll see on Facebook paragraphs using all these things that and acting like it's silly. But let's take a look at another possibility. What if I take bought? What I have is let's get the IPA. Ooh. Oh, give me a buy there. Oh, it won't give me that. I'll do caught. Okay. Oh, it doesn't give me that either. Damn. All right. So I'm going to give you something else. Here is, because it's not doing the past tense. So there is a website called Two Phonetics. I can put the thing in there in a second. So if I want to take the word BOUGHT, I can type it in here, and it will show me the IPA. So there it is. And actually, it's cool. I didn't press sound, but it gives you the pronunciation too. So that's a cool website to know. Two Phonetics. The thing is, my dictionary is not giving me the past tense of things because they don't do that. So I had to. So let's cover that up. And I'm going to paste this. So this is bought. Of course, this symbol, everyone is going to suss out, is for B. Again, it's not a letter, it's a B. And of course, this is the T that we've already seen. So this has to be the A. Now, we can say that, let me go like this. Sorry, I'm trying not to have, let me do this elsewhere. 1 second. Okay. So here's our word. The spelling I'm saying is BOUGHT. And what I'm saying is that the B grapheme is written with the B grapheme is writing the B phoneme that we have in bought. And the T grapheme is writing the T phoneme. I'm saying some people will be confused and see an OU there, but then you have to have a GH. But I'm arguing we can explain this much more easily when we realize that it is the O writing that. But guess what? We don't have any other phonemes. Why do we need the UGH? Well, whatever reason we need it for, we aren't using it for pronunciation because the pronunciation is already taken care of with the B and the O and the T, which is exactly what we saw. Sorry, I can't see my pages very well. With the two. Right? We already saw that the T is writing the O is writing the U, and the W is not writing any pronunciation. So you don't need the UGH for pronunciation. The UGH is a graphemic marker, is what I'm saying. I'm on the wrong page again. It's the big shift. It's hard to do this with the space. The point is, it's just not pronounced at all. And just like the W, it doesn't need to be. And I can now, with that way of thinking, I can explain all these words. You do not need, if you go through these words, you will see that you can take care of all of the phonology of all of these words with the UGH being a graphemic marker, not writing any pronunciation. I've never found a better explanation for these. Now, some of them, now the question is in the W and two, it's so obvious, the twice and twin and all that. I don't know all the stories, but I do know one, and that is that the UGH is, in one word, is often a signal of a link to a TCH in a related word. So catch and caught, taught and teach. And these are a CH or a TCH, I guess is what I'm saying there. But I don't know all the answers, so I can't say what the UGH is marking in every word in those words, but I have yet to find another explanation that explains the grapheme phonic correspondences than the idea that the graphemic marker can be comprised of a trigraph. And then all of that irregularity goes away. Does that make sense? So again, we're talking about graphemic markers. I need to give you an example of a grapheme not writing a pronunciation where I need another one. I'll get to another one. I think there's a question about tiptoeing. It's a cool one. Of course, the only part of that was being asked about, I think, is the TOE. And I have different thinkings about this. I don't know if it's an OE digraph or an O grapheme with an E lexical marker. I'm not sure. But let's see. Let's take another. I wanted to take examples from just to show you how frequent they are. Where's a unpronounced grapheme in this book title?
Please.
The final E and the final E and have. I think this is an IE digraph that is actually kind of suffixy too. Might be a suffix. Somebody might argue it's an I grapheme and an E marker. I'm not convinced. Pete the cat goes camping. Of course, there's the E in Pete. Can anybody spot the grapheme that's not writing a phoneme that isn't in the word Pete?
The E in goes.
Yeah, it's a hard one to see. Because you got to see that's not an OE digraph. How do you know it's not? Because right here we see the word go. You cannot have a grapheme that crosses a morphemic boundary. There's no OE in goes. You can't understand where the graphemes are if you don't know where the morphemes are. Just 100%. There's no exceptions to that. And so I can see that, oh, that's really interesting. This has an ES suffix, and the E isn't even being pronounced. Now, that might surprise you, but the funny thing is, schools are very happy to talk about the three pronunciations of the ED suffix. And 2/3 of them, the E isn't writing any pronunciation either. So why would we not highlight? We can use these very common early suffixes kids see all the time to show them from the beginning there's nothing weird going on. And now once you know that concept, you know how to look for grapheme. Look what we're already doing. We're on a little treasure hunt for any words where the grapheme doesn't write a phoneme. And we can do the same thing with kids. I had to go find Dr. Seuss. See anything here?
The L in wood.
Yeah, so I had to get a wood, and I could remember that Dr. Seuss talked about this wood. But how about the E here? And the E there? And the E there? So you see, like it's like Dr. Seuss books filled with grapheme's not writing a phoneme. Like we act like, oh, but that's for advanced. This is not advanced words. It's everywhere. And then look at this one. Maybe like he's doing all that repetition, but the only words that really box, but house, there's one. Mouse, there's one. There's one. Here, there's one. Anywhere, there's one. And then my fave. Not my fave, but there is an unpronounced grapheme in egg. Where's that one?
Second G.
Now listen to this. Remember? Listen. I think you might hear my instruction better, everybody. First, before I tell you, tap out the spelling of this base. Now listen to my instructions. I've said every time. I give one tap for every grapheme or doubled grapheme in the base. E double G. But notice, I'm going to make the case. There's no double G digraph. I'm going to say this spelling represents the phonology of the word egg. Why can't I spell egg this way? I heard
Because
someone
it's a content word.
exactly. So if you don't know about function and lexical words, you can't explain the double L in egg and a whole bunch of other things. And the point is, function words are so helpful to teach. Actually, I have a course coming up in that, but it's like they're the only words that can be spelled with one or two letters. They can have more, but they're the only ones allowed to have one or two letters. They're the little grammatical words that they don't carry much meaning, any meaning in and of themselves, but they're involved in the construction of meaning of the sentence. Right? When you say I went to the store, if I say if I take that sentence and I remove the function words, I get went store.
Many of my students have younger siblings, and so we talk about without the function words, it sounds like you're talking like a toddler.
Yeah, or Tarzan.
Yeah, you communicated the meaning, but it doesn't really sound like English.
But look what we get if we take out the content words. There's no meaning there. You don't know anything that's going on. An I is a function word because you don't know who the I is if it doesn't have a referent. You like this. I went to the store. If I'm saying it, you know it's me, right? But the point is, all of these are little grammatical words. Even the three letters the is a function word, but only graphemes. When I do a full lesson, we teach this. And a function word. Sorry. You can never you can't picture a function word. No function word is imageable. You can't hold a function word. If you can see it, taste it, feel it, touch it, it is a content word. Now you can have air that you can't see but is still a content word. But once you have that idea, I can say this. You can definitely, an egg has to be a content word. If you can eat it, if you can throw it, it's not a function word. And it can't.
Interesting enough, the American Sign Language doesn't have any function words.
Oh, that's interesting. That's fascinating. Cool.
Yeah.
You think if you can avoid them, it might make help in that language. Now, notice the E and the G writes the E and the G. We double the G to conform to the convention that every content words needs at least 3 letters. So that it's the first G writing the G. The second G is just a graphemic marker. But notice what I did. I always struggle with my conventions for spelling out, but like a year or two ago now, I finally realized I have a solution. My instruction is, who can repeat to me what I said? What do I tap for in the base? I have to give 1 tap for every
Grapheme.
Grapheme.
or doubled grapheme. Because if I go E double G, and my rule is 1 tap for every grapheme, I've just told you there's a double G grapheme and there ain't. But if my instruction from the start is I give 1 tap for every grapheme or doubled grapheme, when we hit this, I can now make you aware of the fact that I kept saying or doubled grapheme. And the reason is, I think it's better to say doubled grapheme and bind it, but understand that it's actually not a single grapheme. It's 2 graphemes next to each other, one writing a phoneme, one being a lexical graphemic marker. That's all it's doing there. And now we have this all over the place. Here's another example that I want to show you while we're here, that I always do in my spelling out workshop. Take a look at this one. I'm going to make a word sum. HOP plus ing is rewritten as, check the joins, vowel suffix, double P. So the result is HO double P ing. Okay. Now look at the word hop. If I just take that word hop on its own, let me see. Well, I'll just say hop. The final phoneme is p, right? Written with the grapheme P. In hopping, what grapheme is writing the p phoneme?
Double P.
That's not how I think of it anymore.
Oh,
And the reason is, I heard somebody raise it earlier. Then I need to have a grapheme P and a double P digraph, and a T and a double T digraph, and every consonant that doubles, you got to have 2 of them. No, we just saw the answer with egg. It is the P, the first P that's writing the P. What is this second P? It's a doubled grapheme for a suffixing convention. This P isn't writing any pronunciation, but what is it doing? It's telling me the meaning and the morphology. Because if I see there's a double P there, I know there was no E in the final, as one of my favorite student comments is, that I know that the base of hopping is hop, and that this is hop, not hoping. HOP replaced the EING, because if there was 1 P, it would be there because the E was in the base. So in the same way that I say egg, it doesn't have evidence of a double G grapheme. The doubling convention is doubling a grapheme to become a different grapheme, but it's just a graphemic marker. We don't need to add a whole new bank of graphemes, and it's not what's happening. So that's my
when you tap it, you say it though.
But I say HO double P ing, but now listen, Annie, to the statement. What did I tap in the base? Every
Grapheme.
Or doubled grapheme.
Okay, right.
So that's, you see why, but it's so much, every other people in this room, did you hear me say grapheme or doubled grapheme from the start? The people who've been doing this for a long time went through the same process, and this was the gift that I've done in a couple of places in my teaching, where I was worried about mentioning something that's like really complex too early, and then I found out if I just don't worry about it and I say it, nobody even notices. They don't even hear it. So it's not in their way. But at the moment at which it's important to understand, I want you to see that actually, I always said double grapheme, but it's only now that there's a reason to understand it that you even hear it. You heard it before, but you didn't process it. But now notice E double G, I tapped the E grapheme and the doubled G grapheme. But I think it's really important to have a tap for that doubled grapheme to bind them. That's my thing. I mean, these are theories, but I find this a very helpful way. But that's why one of the things I wanted to do based on Candace's questions today was get all this language out that's hiding underneath. You see, Candace, how I was like, oh my God, markers. There's so many things to do about markers. Paula has a question, and then I want to bring up something else about Candace's question. Yeah.
In Sue Heglin's book, she refers to an orthographic marker as something that's never pronounced in any other word in the morphological family, and gives as an example haste, hasty, and hasten, where we do have an unpronounced T in the word hasten.
Yeah. Now let me, since you've brought that precision, these are a section of slides from my spelling out course that I introduced this idea, but I think it would be useful for you guys to now see this as a kind of a summative thing. So if we're tapping out this base, there are the graphemes, and we suddenly see that what's that E doing? We don't need, there's no SE digraph. The S can write Z. We have a base. Base element means a written morpheme. These are the graphemes associated with the phonemes, the single letter graphemes and the digraph. But then we have this E grapheme is not spelling any pronunciation. It's got to be some kind of orthographic structure because it's in the base. So what we need to understand here is that it is a grapheme, but it's one that does not represent a phone. So we've already hit that, so I get to read. And the other thing is distinguishing homophones. And another thing is plural canceling. That's what Vinetsky describes it in his book, which is sitting here somewhere. As he talks about a plural canceling marker, and that is the idea that we often put E's at the end of things. There it is. Like he uses the example of the word nurse to show that it shows you that there's not more than one nurse. I like please because I made many pleas for help to see that connection, but it's also house. It's also all over the place. So, and if you've ever had a kid spell house without an E, it's because they wrote a letter for every sound, which is what we taught them to do. So, if we keep going here, we see that. And then I have some of the stuff I want to get to with Candace's question. So there's a plural canceling function. And there's house, the same idea. You can't spell it that way because you might think it's more than one house. Now here's the idea that Paula was referencing. So building on Gina Cook's work and Real Spelling and others, I had to come to my understanding of these graphemic markers. To identify a grapheme that does not represent a phoneme, that letter or sequence of letters cannot be associated with a phoneme in any of the pronunciation of the morpheme in which it is found. I know that's a lot. So I always use this joke. If I say Prince of Wales, I'm pretty confident you weren't thinking about this Prince of Wales. You were thinking about that Prince of Wales. I skipped it. Why isn't it there? Oh, I should do this. I was going to fix this slide. I should have that off first. Okay. So I don't think you were thinking of that Prince of Wales. I think you were thinking of that Prince of Wales. But it turns out, Prince, these are homophones. You don't actually hear me announce the T. So what we can do is we can go look at the family, 3 members of this PRINT family, and when we see, I'm trying to be able to see you guys and see this at the same time, and it never works. Let me see if I can get there. Okay, there it is. So notice in printed and printing, that T is clearly pronounced. We have a T grapheme running the phoneme in when I say printed or printing. But when I say prints, like footprints in the snow, all of a sudden that T isn't pronounced at all. People don't always believe me, but I'm afraid I've never heard anybody actually say prints, footprints. So this is called a zeroed allophone. That is if it's a zeroed allophone, it mustn't be zeroed in another member of the family. That's why it's still a phoneme. It's still in the slash brackets. This is the another key understanding that comes from your question, Candace. The other thing that we don't understand in schools is what a phoneme is. And one of the most, this is a bit of a brain breaker. This is like the hardest part of that course. But you got to hear it the first time if it's your first. Phonemes in linguistics, nobody in linguistics thinks that a phoneme is a sound. A phoneme is a mental representation. It is the range of pronunciations that a person perceives as the same phoneme. So, my example of this that I often use with my terrible ability, I am not good at accents, but pretend. So let's say I go visit my friends in Australia. I go to the cafe and they say, "Where'd you park your car?" And I say, "Around the corner." Or I go to Boston and someone says, "Where'd you park your car?" Or you come to my house and I say, "Where'd you park your car?" That Canadian R and the Aussie ah and the Bostonian or New Yorker, I don't know what it is, or those are three pronunciations of the same phoneme. And the reason they're the same phoneme is that me and my other English speakers know exactly what we mean. The range of pronunciations that a speaker of a language perceives as the same, and it doesn't destroy or change meaning. Okay? If, however, I said, "Where'd you park your coat?" Nobody knows what I said. That destroys meaning. There's no such thing as a co in that sentence that makes any sense. So it's not you can stretch the pronunciation infinitely, but English speakers can perceive those different accents because the phoneme isn't there. Now here's the thing. The range of pronunciations that speakers can perceive as the same extend to no pronunciation at all. And that's what's happening when you hear the phrase a zero allophone. It's about the pronunciation. It's not about the spelling. It's about the fact that in the word printed, who can tell me how do you pronounce the print base in the word printed? What, Candace, can you do that? Can I call on you for this? Can you say printed for me? Oh, just you say pronounce the word printed for me, Candace. Oh, you got to unmute though.
I thought it was muted. Printed.
Okay, now how do you pronounce the base in the word printed?
Print.
Now you got the graphemes, but I'm just saying in the word printed, pronounce it without the suffix. How do you say the word without the suffix?
Print.
Okay. Now say footprints in the snow.
Footprints in the snow.
So say prints.
Prints.
How do you pronounce the print in the word prints?
It's prins.
How do you pronounce it?
So
No, this is pronouncing now. So
pronouncing. Okay.
in printed, you pronounce this print, print.
Yeah.
In prints, I'm going to give it to you. The way you pronounce it is prin.
Print.
You don't pronounce the T, you jump right over to the S and you say prints. Footprints in the snow. When you just skip that pronunciation of the T, SLPs would talk about it. It's about what do you call it? Phonotactics. It's about what your mouth can do when you're next to another pronunciation. So we just elide that all together and don't even pronounce it. But Spelling is about representing meaning, so we don't drop the grapheme just because we drop the pronunciation. And so what this is getting into what I was talking about before, we need to not only talk about grapheme phoneme correspondences, we should be talking about spelling, meaning, pronunciation correspondences of morphemes. But this is literally, yes, we don't pronounce the T in Prince, but I can tell you, not only do not pronounce it, it is a zeroed allophone, so it is writing a phoneme, it's just writing an unpronounced phoneme. But we can go to another example with the word people. Everybody have a go at finding the graphemes in people. Now, just for time, I'm going to give you how I tap it out. I tap it out People. So I just told you all single letter graphemes. A lot of people want to say there's an EO. But for that to be true, what would someone have to do for evidence of an EO digraph in people? It's not just the word, it's the principle.
You have to have it in another word.
You'd have to find the EO digraph writing E in another word, and I've yet to find one, so unless someone shows me, there ain't no EO digraph. But now I don't have to think of an EO digraph. Which of those graphemes is surprising given the pronunciation? It's the O. And what we see, though, every word that has the base People, the O is never pronounced, whereas the T is sometimes pronounced. So here, we cannot say that this is writing a zeroed allophone. This is a graphemic marker because, as Paolo was saying, it's a graphemic marker is a grapheme that doesn't write any pronunciation in any member of the morphological family. I know that's a lot. That's a lot in my course on this, but I hope that is making some sense. And now, Candace, we can come back to what your original question was. Candace's original question was trying to create a list of all the different functions of graphemic markers. Is that right? Am I getting that right? So here's what I'm going to point out. We have run into a number of graphemic markers in which we could describe its various functions, right? So we've already done some. And it's a fine process to go. Oh, this is another one. It's a fine process to go through, but I kind of recommend against it. Do it for yourself, but I don't want you to make I'm not finding what I think I deleted things that I shouldn't have deleted. But the point is this. We can see that the E and the end of the word mate, yes, it's signaling the pronunciation of another grapheme, the A. And I would say it's also distinguishing homographs. But you could say that E is a graphemic marker. You could label it as a phonological graphemic marker because its job is signaling the pronunciation of another grapheme. And then you could take a word like nurse or house or please and say, well, that E is a plural canceling graphemic marker. These are totally valid things to say. But what I'm going to recommend is that you start without that being your goal. The first step is being able to identify a grapheme that doesn't represent any pronunciation at all. That's the first step. After you've identified it, instead of saying, well, I guess wood has a UL digraph all of a sudden. If you don't see a UL digraph in other places, you can just say, oh, that's probably an OU, and the L, maybe it's one of those graphemes that doesn't write a pronunciation. And then you can start seeking the job of it, and then you have, well, it's spelled differently than piece of wood, and maybe you get to the will. Maybe you don't. But you don't need to have the answer. To the first start is to say graphemes don't have to write pronunciations. Now, if I'll shut up in a second and look for something. I do have a document from a lesson. Actually, there's a couple of videos I should show employing this with kids. With one video in particular, two videos in particular, and the other thing is a document about my working with Charlie, who is a student I've worked with a long time and have some videos out there with him. He was like seriously in crisis when I started working with him in grade 1. This lesson is, I think, in grade 2 or 3, I don't know. But he had really just come such a huge way, and then they moved him to another, he moved to another school. Nobody moved him, they moved to another school. And that new school, interestingly enough, put him right into the advanced reading group, right? This kid who was in deep crisis in grade 1, but his spelling was still not good, or not accurate, I should say. And then this school gave him Friday spelling tests, and it was amazing and horrible. But I'd been working with Charlie for a year or two, and he'd just become a whole different kid, just with his success in literacy. When he came back after this Friday spelling test with like 2 right, I could just see the Charlie from before. Wow, like one test like that, just the kind of damage it does.
You know what I'm thinking, Peter, as I listen to all of this, like when you're getting trained to teach, they talk about like letters right sounds, right? And then they might throw in CH as marking origin. But there's an awful lot, just as I listen to you today, there's an awful lot of like Alicia's on this thing, and I started to create these videos, and it's like background knowledge. Like there's a lot of background knowledge that we don't come to teach literacy. Like, you know, like,
Absolutely.
like there's a law, like, and I was wondering, like this, like the E on the word shoe, for example, or the E on the word toe, TOE. Like, I tend to lump it into just calling them spelling conventions. Like, there are these conventions. Like, would that suffice?
Well,
I sent Paolo the slide.
I was doing a bad thing by trying to double task there, but I think what we need is language that is not misleading but functional at the moment. So that's why I'm really emphasizing. I like conventions instead of rules, by the way. But I would say that the first thing we need, the first lesson from today, is just to make it a clear and obvious and beginning instruction thing that when you look at words and you see those letters on the page, the things that are writing the pronunciations are actually these graphemes. It can be 1, 2, or 3 letter combinations. And don't be surprised when you find tons of words where graphemes don't write any pronunciation at all. Like that, if you begin your schema of understanding the writing system with that understanding, you don't have to go through this freaking pain. You don't have to undo that. And over time, you can refine whether it's a graphemic marker or if it's a zeroed allophone, blah, blah, blah. Like, that's not an immediate need. You need the category that graphemes don't have to write pronunciations. And that means you also need to know that when they're not writing pronunciations, what are they doing? They're writing meaning in one way or another. Whether it's through signaling the right pronunciation of the word, whether it's signaling not a plural, whether it's signaling I'm connected to this other thing. It doesn't matter. That's always going to be a meaning connection. And the meaning connections, there's only 2 kinds, morphological and etymological, and they happen at the same time. Like, there's not that these are separate jobs. I will come back to, did I respond to your question, Marie?
No. But yes, well, that sounded ruder than I thought. Sorry, I was in my head. Sorry. I'm just thinking about meaning. I think you have a much broader sense of it than I am currently thinking of it as. I think you're packing a lot more into there.
Well, the short form statement I'm saying is to understand spelling, we need to understand grapheme phonic correspondences, and we need to understand spelling meaning correspondences, and there are only 2 kinds of spelling meaning correspondences from morphology and etymology.
I mean,
That sums up what a writing system does.
I know, and I always process this through, being dyslexic myself. It's true, like once I realized that a grapheme can do more than write a pronunciation, it opens up the question, well, what else can it do?
Exactly.
And it starts to put you on a pathway to becoming
And so
a
let me
more
tell
accurate spelling.
and that's the story with and I just put in the link this archive of my newsletters so you if you click it you get to this. It's not updated, but there's tons of old stuff here, and the one I'm trying to look for drives me crazy. It why it does that to me. It wants to be so tiny that I can't read it. So I'm trying to find here the jobs of the E. Oh, come on. Okay. Here we go. There it is. There it is. Okay. So this is the document that I'm trying to get to. And so if you, I was cruel to give you the archive, so now you got to find it, which means you might see other ones you like. But the point that I want to say that we do here, I tell this story, and he's just devastated when he starts, and then he sees, I'll come back in a second. He sees these, because he can't, and the test was all about single silent E's, making long vowels, and no word was related to another word except for this. And then at the end, they had the irregular ones, or the tricky ones. And in the tricky ones, they had a word like have or give or one of those. And they had another one, probably like with a plural canceling E. But the test is telling Charlie that these are irregular. And I said, well, Charlie, do you know why there's an E at the end of have? And he explains it in 2 seconds, no completing. So I guess you know more than the people who wrote this test. So like it's an entire, and then how about this one? He knew what a plural canceling marker was. And so I tell Charlie, well, you know what, man? At one time I did this. I can't remember where I put it, but I actually did a thing where I tried to look for all the jobs of the potential final non-syllabic E that I could find. And I think I got to 14. And so I said, "You want to go? Should we start a treasure hunt on the final?" And this advanced content is making him super excited after being demolished by this spelling test. And so the reason I'm telling you all this story is that I tell that story here, and it's the only place where I give a list of jobs that Charlie and I found. We actually got past 10, but that's where I stopped updating it. But so if you would like to find 10 jobs of the final non-syllabic E, you're going to have to go to that archive, and you're going to have to dig into the old newsletters, and hopefully you'll pick something. You follow the Charlie one, but there's other ones that you might find there too. And Candace, that's a place where we can think about all these different jobs of the markers. Like it's not restricted to the E, but right there you're going to have a ton of them. And so let me share the last story that I always love with Charlie on that day. So we're doing all this stuff. We get to this point where he's, feeling great and rocking. And then I see this word. And I realize, oh, that's a cool one. Because in the word ice, the final non-syllabic E is signaling the pronunciation of the I, and it's signaling the pronunciation of the C, doing two things at once. And then my head says, oh shit, it's doing another thing too. And I'm thinking, I don't know if I should raise it with Charlie right now. Normally he'd be totally fine, but right now he's been so tender on this. But I decided I had to do it. And so I say, I don't know if you remember this, Charlie, but maybe 6 months ago or something. Remember when we did that study about function words and lexical words? I barely got that out. And he said, it's a lexicalizing E. Because you can't spell ice with two letters. People think that content is like too much cognitive load for kids. It's the opposite. The hardest cognitive load for everybody is shame and failure.
And memorization.
Memorization leads to the shame and failure for those of us with terrible orthographic memories and bad phonological awareness. You put all the leverage on the two things we suck at. And then you wonder why we struggle to remember it. One of the weird things about all this is that one of the reasons we haven't fixed this is because you non-dyslexics are so good at remembering things you don't understand. We can't, for the life of us, understand how the heck would you know? But you can never tell us because you have understood the writing system as a sound representation system with tons of exceptions. You don't understand the exceptions. You just don't need to remember them. But Marie and I, we are lost if we don't explain them. And you will never explain spelling if you treat it like it's a pronunciation representation system. And that is how all schools basically teach it. It's really a dramatic difference. So I know I didn't get to all of your questions, Candace, but does that help with that framing of your question?
It does. And, like I've mentioned to you in some of the emails is that I do like to group things and it helps organize, so that's how I organize things in my head. But also part of it too is, this is my cheat sheet because this stuff is like, I dip in and out of it and I want to have like this reference that I go back to.
And so what my hope was, you did all that work. My hope is from today, you can go back to it. And now instead of me going and editing it for you, you see what can you take from today that would help you revise things in there. And then I'm happy to take a look again. But the one thing that I did email you that I highlighted with the whole group, one thing is now we have to always think, when do I mean letter and when do I mean grapheme? And I would say 95% of the time you mean grapheme.
Yeah.
You're only talking about letters if you're below the grapheme. If I can do, I should go, but I'm gonna. If I can show one last little thing, and it's cruel of me to do this, but I'm gonna do it anyways. I just before I stopped, I copied this thing because I've been using all this fancy language. And this isn't out published yet, but it's in a chapter that'll be coming. Just so you have a frame for what I've been saying. This is a model. Remember when I said that letter, we don't write with letters because they're not language specific. Well, in the oral language, phones aren't language specific. And phones are what comprise phonemes, and Roman alphabet letters is what comprise English graphemes. So there's no link between the phones and the letters. It's only when you get to a language that you have, and listen to this language, systematic links between pronunciation and orthography. No, between oral language and orthography. And there's only two systematic sublexical links below the word. Phonemes link directly to graphemes, and they have to. That's combinatorial. You can't, nothing other than a grapheme writes a phoneme is what I'm really saying. Okay? And you never have a grapheme and a half write a phoneme. They have to be equal. But what we don't teach, and this is what we teach in phonics, and we should be teaching that, the problem is we don't know where the graphemes are if we don't know where the morphemes are, because the graphemes have to fit into the morphemes. And the phonemes have to stick into the oral morphemes. And so the point that what I'm suggesting and what I was doing with Candace earlier, and which we did in a few places, is how do you pronounce the base in the word printed? Print. How do you pronounce the base in the word prints? Prin. That is doing the oral morphology and linking it to the written morphology. And that's where we see, the T is still there even though I don't pronounce it. We are not teaching the systematic link between oral and written morphemes, and it is one of the two ways that systematic links that exist. Because once you get up here, you're now at words. And after words, it's phrases and clauses and such. But this is that combinatorial frame that I'm talking about. We ignore this in instruction. And that's what, and we ignore the fact that these fit into each other. And this is because we're acting like the only things that matter is pronunciation. So we just got letters and sounds, and there's no way that frame could ever explain spelling. Another frame that I encourage people to keep in mind is you cannot teach isolated aspects of an inherently interrelated system and expect that you can understand the system. There's just no way that's ever going to work. And yet it is not only that we teach grapheme phoneme correspondences in isolation of meaning from morphology and etymology. When we start to teach morphology, we teach it in isolation of phonology. It's like, it's really insane. And so that graphic that it's not something that you need, but it's just to highlight, this is why I'm talking about this combinatorial stuff. It's why the matrix and the word sum are combinatorial guardrails. You can't know where the graphemes are if you don't know where the morphemes are. All of that stuff. I got it all from real spelling, and then when you find out from linguists have known about this combinatorial thing, it's like, holy cow, it was always there. And it also means that the matrix and word sum I'm convinced, can be applied to any Roman alphabet language because they all have the same raw materials. I don't know how to make there could well be a version of a matrix that would be quite different for Japanese or Chinese. I don't know how it operates. I don't understand the non-alphabetic system. And I don't know how to do it with Hebrew that has a different alphabet. But someone who understands Hebrew might be able to.
Yeah, it's easier with Hebrew than it is with English.
And it must be because, not must be, but it makes sense that it must be that you can, because guess where Michel saw his first matrix? Was in medieval Hebrew. When I try to get him, like we always have these origin stories where we found our first matrix that blew our brains out. I said, well, Michel, what happened to your brain when you first made it? And he said, I never made the matrix. I'm completely derivative. I never made anything. He said, well, what do you mean? Well, where did you see it? And he finally, he literally showed me, and it kills me that I didn't take a picture, an image in medieval Hebrew from when he was studying in Oxford. And it was like a matrix, and he brought it to English. Nobody made one in English before him, as far as I can see. But he didn't invent the concept. And so the fact that, of course, Hebrew has to be able to do it. It's so morphological, I understand. But I don't know how you deal with your infixes. I don't know what that would be like. But I'd be curious to see it. So, I don't normally can leave a little bit longer, but I should have left a little while ago. So we'll go. But do please, by the way, the other thing that is in that link is my update. So please share those things. Especially I'm trying to be annoyingly publicizing the class in England, because I don't know that many people over there. So if you know anybody over there, just share it. And then I do have a bunch of online courses starting up in February. So any sharing of the word of mouth of this stuff is much appreciated. All right. And we'll see you tomorrow, Michelle.
Thank y'all.
Cheers.
Thank you.
Cheers.
Thanks.